Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Upadesa-prakasika, text number 8. Please repeat. Tannamarupa charitadi sukirtananu smrityo kramena rasana manasi niyojyam tishtan vrajet tadanuragi jananugami Kalam nayed akhilam ityupadesa-saram. Tat of Lord Krishna. Nama, the holy name. Rupa, form. Charita adi, character, pastimes and so on. Sukirtanam, in discussing or chanting nicely. Anusmrityoho, and in remembering. Kramena, gradually. Rasana, the tongue. Manasi, and one's mind. Yoja, engaging. Tishtan, residing. Vraje, in Vraja. Tat, to Lord Krishna. Anuragi, attached. Jana, person. Anugami, following. Kalam, time. Nayet, should utilize. Akhilam, full. Iti, thus. Upadesha, of advice or instruction. Saram, the essence. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, founder Acharya of ISKCON. The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way one should reside in Braja, Goloka Vrindavan Dham, and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to His devotional service. So this is Shloka 8. We are continuing hearing the instructions of Rupa Goswami. And after the giving advice how to practice sadhana bhakti, how to control mind and senses, what to do favorably, what is unfavorable, what is to be followed, what is to be avoided. Then the advice was that one should be always in satsanga and engage, control one's mind's senses by being engaged in Krishna consciousness. And then the dealings among devotees were given from the Dati Pratigihnati to the Uttama, Kanishta and Madhyama, explained, and then the glories of the holy name were described. Now, the essence of all advice. This basically, the shloka tells the hints, what is a spiritual life, what's this all about, no? So the essence of all advice, to focus back on what we are actually doing, what is the essence of religion, what is the essence of the living being's existence. The essence of all advice is one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, to remember God, Krishna. How? By chanting and remembering His name, form, qualities, pastimes. Nama, Guna, Rupa, Lila. These are always the objects of meditation, absorption for the devotee. So here we'll go to Srila Prabhupāda's purport. Okay, this is the instruction of the essence of spiritual practice, and you can see in these purports of these few shlokas from 8 to 11, you will see that Srila Prabhupada discusses these topics which we discussed already in Nectar of Devotion, of spontaneous devotional service, Raganuga Bhakti, Ragatmika Bhakti. So sometimes some people criticize, that your guru didn't explain everything in your books and this, that. Everything is there, just one should know what is this all about. People read, but they may not understand and not be aware what is described here. So you can see the acharyas explain the full process of how to take up conditioned soul from the material world to the spiritual world, to the perfection. So here, Srila Prabhupada says like this, Manasini Yoja, training your mind. So first advice is that since the mind may be one's enemy or one's friend, one has to train the mind to become his friend. This we learn from Bhagavad Gita. Udharet atmanatmanam, natmanam, manasa dhayet. Then? Atmani, atmano ripur. Atmano bandhus. How?
Atmane atmano bandhus.
Atmano bandhus. Atmaiva ripur atmanaha. Atmaiva ripur atmanaha. That one's mind, if it's engaged in devotional service, is one's best friend. But one's mind, if it's engaged in sense gratification, any other topic other than Krishna, is one's worst enemy. Udaret. One should uplift oneself with the help of mind. Natmanama vasadayet. One should not degrade oneself with the mind. So basically the spiritual life is really control of the mind and the senses and absorption in the Lord. So here the Krishna consciousness movement is especially meant for training the mind to be always engaged in Krishna's business. Prabhupada said, Krishna's business. People talk like that, so when you're preaching you can use the terminology. People consider business something very important in life for maintenance, you have to do business, but Prabhupada said, the devotee's only business is to serve Krishna. Therefore the people can relate. So Prabhupada goes on analyzing and explaining the mind's functions. Mind contains hundreds and thousands of impressions, samskaras or vasanas. We lived many lifetimes in this material world, and whatever we seen remains in the mind, some impression there. Mind is something like a mirror, but with memory power. Whatever you put in front of mirror, it will reflect. Whatever you put in front of mind, whatever mind sees, hears or feels, it remains there. But problem is it has a memory power also. Means that impression remains in the mind. So Prabhupada gives example many times that you've seen the mountain and you've seen the gold, but in a dream, the mind may put these two things together and then you dream the golden mountain. Something like that. So we are carrying impressions from many lifetimes in our mind. So it's very difficult to control. We are so charged with feelings. These impressions are attached to our feelings, our desires, our bad experiences. And it's a complex thing to deal with mind. You can see some people, they may be unexplainably reacting or overreacting for certain things. There are some people who are just unexplainably afraid of the water. So mind has some impression from the water. Some people simply, they don't want to even come near the water. Some people are afraid of great heights. If they go up on the height, some people just walking like a goats on the 10th story, no problem. Walking on the construction scaffolds without any fear. And we've seen the photo last time of 20 workers sitting on, 500 feet height of construction, and taking their tiffin, on the iron beam, maybe 1.5 feet breadth, and they're just sitting on the iron beam and eating there. Well, it's a nice view. But some people can't do it. So, of course, even modern doctors and psychiatrists, they say, something happened to you in the water previous lifetime, so that you have this impression, bad impression, Otherwise, why? How to explain in the modern scientific understanding that life is one and whatever happened to me only counts from this lifetime? It doesn't make sense. We have so many impressions. Some really more introvert person, not really outspoken, some a little more loving and talkative and whatever. Everyone is different. Everybody has different mind, different impressions. So Prabhupada says, mind contains hundreds and thousands of impressions. Not only this life, but also many lives of the past. These impressions sometimes come in contact with one another and produce contradictory pictures. In this way, mind's function can become dangerous for conditioned souls. So, this is the mind. Mind's business is always to engage senses. How to engage senses in enjoyment. That is mind's business, mind's purpose. Always accepting and rejecting proposals of sense gratification. Always thinking how to be happy, how to enjoy. So, this mind is always busy. You can't stop mind. Feelings, thinking, willing, all these things are linked to the mind. So, the mind has to be purified, has to be controlled, has to be focused on God, on God's qualities, God's pastimes, God's form, be fully absorbed in spiritual matter. Then the pure quality of the mind to think of Krishna always manifests. Then it's easy. Just like now, spontaneously, naturally, we don't think of God. How many people in the world now, if you say, okay, stop now the time, and say last 5 minutes, how many people in the world were actually caught in thoughts of God? Not many really, because when we are in conditioned state in the material world, mostly we forget God. Mostly we think of ourselves, of our own selfish desires or sense gratification. This is most natural thought about me, myself, and I. Think how do I enjoy that? No. Or if this enjoyment is frustrated by somebody that I may be thinking of these obstacles in anger, why they are not allowing me to enjoy, why they are putting obstacles, why they are disturbing me, or somebody is exploiting me. But it's all based on the same principle that Ishwaraham aham bhogi, that I am enjoyer of material world. So when mind is pure, the mind always thinks of Krishna. So this is the here. Students of psychology are aware of the mind's various psychological changes. Prabhupada gives now the hint. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajantyante kalevaram tam eva iti-𝐿 sada tad bhava bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Now this is something important in Vedic literature, that we have to practice thinking of God, chanting His name, praying to God, serving God, depending on God, fully being absorbed in God consciousness. Then, what happens in time of death? One doesn't have to take birth again. So this is explained. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattva tyaktva deham punar janma naitimam eti sarjana. Krishna says in Gita to Arjuna that my janma, my appearance, karma, my activities, my pastimes, divyam, they are all transcendental. If you think of those, and if you know them in truth, then punarjanmana, no more birth and death. Now we may glorify some famous person, or we may, be impressed with somebody great, great scientist, Abdul Kalam, or great sportsman, or great singer, or whatever. But the idea is that what benefit we will derive by glorifying materialistic person? A material benefit, or no benefit at all, as we say in the spiritual terms. So the real key here is that one should be absorbed, one should be devoted to the Lord, for that very reason that this is our real nature, and this is really what delivers us. This is what will actually deliver us from all material existence. So here the essence of all instruction is very clear. It's already emphasized in previous shloka. This is kind of summary of whatever was said so far. This shloka summarizes that, what is it? Vacha vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jiva vegam, udarapasta vegam. And how to do it? By chanting, by remembering the Lord. Focus your tongue and mind in the Lord, and one will be delivered. That is perfection of instruction. 24 hours a day, full absorption. Prabhupada says, if any tinge of material desires remains, we have to remain in material world. Prabhupada says, even if you desire one gulab jamun, you take birth and eat that gulab jamun. So we ate it yesterday, fine, no? There's no need to take birth again. Not so easy, but not difficult also. Not difficult. The questions of practice. The questions of practice. So you will see in this shloka, sadhana bhakti and raganuga bhakti, both are given. Very, very nicely explained. Okay, so then Prabhupada says, warning. At the time of death, the mind and intelligence of living entity create a subtle form of a certain type of body for the next life. The subtle body is created. We are molding our subtle body, our thoughts, our subtle body, we are molded throughout the lifetime. But in time of death, that's really already ready-made. It's formed by our desires, by our attitude, by our consciousness. And then immediately we enter into another body. Subtle body carries the soul to the gross body. So this is how it goes. So very important, what we think, what we see, what we discuss, what we develop attachment to. That is forming our subtle body. And what is the perfection? Mukti, hitva, anyata rupam, swarupena vyavasthiti. That we give up this material mind altogether. Subtle body altogether we give up. Gross body we give up altogether. Swarupena vyavasthiti. And then we be situated in swarupa, in spiritual body, with spiritual mind, with spiritual intelligence, with spiritual senses, absorbing Krishna service. So this is possible, Srila Prabhupada said, if we serve Krishna, we develop our spiritual senses, and we actually, even in this lifetime, reawaken our swarupa, our spiritual form, which is already there. Everybody of us has eternal relation with Krishna, everybody has some swarupa. So, our original spiritual form. Once we engage in spiritual activities, we are reawakening, we are starting to use spiritual senses. And then only with spiritual senses you can see the soul, you can see the God, you can see his pastimes become manifest like that. So this will be explained this purpose. If the mind suddenly thinks of something not very congenial, one has to take a corresponding birth in the next life. So there is a warning by Prabhupada that we don't want to, really mess up in time of death. We have to remember Krishna in time of death. But not so easy. John Lennon, he spoke with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada mentioned this point. If you remember in Krishna in time of death, perfection will be achieved. And he said, wow, great, then I can do whatever I want to do in lifetime, just in time of death. You have to remember Krishna and job is done. Why to suffer? Why so much endeavor? Why wake up morning in chanting and all this struggle, no? But the point is that what about when you will die? How do you know when you will die? It's not that everybody is fortunate like Parikshit Maharaj who got notice, okay, 7 days you're going to die. Any time that may come. And lo and behold, how John Lennon left the body. They shot him in the middle of the day. Man came, some envious fellow, shot him with a gun. But because they did some service to Prabhupada, I just recently heard the rest of the story of John Lennon's death. Because he did some service to Prabhupada, he given his property and house for Prabhupada to use for some time, for a few months in London. And they encourage George Harrison also, and they allow him to publish his Mahamantra and, do some service. They sponsor so many things for devotees there in the temple. And so he did service to pure devotees. So what happens in time of that is very interesting. It didn't work according to his plan. He thought, I just remember Krishna and leave body. But he could not remember because it was on the spot, gun was shot. But still he didn't die. They took him to hospital. And somehow or other that day, some devotee was there in the hospital. So the wife of John Lennon, this is narrated in memories of one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples. His plan didn't work. He did not remember Krishna. But look, because he did little service to Srila Prabhupada, what happened? One devotee was anyway that day in the hospital for some other reason. So when they took John Lennon, that 𝐒𝐿 Ono, his famous Japanese wife, was there. And she saw some devotees say, John, look, Hare Krishna devotees are here. And he left the body. That is last thing he heard. This is called mercy of the Guru. This is little service rendered. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato vayat. Even little devotional service delivered him from the biggest fear, repeated birth and death. So definitely, if that went home back to Godhead, at least he's born in devotee's family. Means his spiritual life is, he's blessed. He was blessed. He did service, not for nothing. So the Prabhupada gives Krishna conscious solution for this problem. On the other hand, if one can think of Krishna at the time of death, he can be transferred to spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan. Now this is the benefit. We think of Krishna in time of death. So you can see, one devotee just told me he got some heavy viral fever, really heavy, with heavy headache. And when headache comes, really it is difficult to control mind. Mind is freaking out. And there was high fever, and there was news reports were there that people are dying out of fever, and there's some new disease, and nobody knows the cause, and nobody knows the medicine. A little panic, What is that? Some fever, some swine flu. People die from swine flu. We were recently in foreign country. Maybe he got swine flu. This, that. Anyway, he got heavy fever. So he just couldn't do anything. His body is paining, head is breaking. Let me go to the hospital. So in the hospital, on the way to the hospital, they're driving him, and he's calling, Amma, Amma, Amma. Then when he came to hospital, he saw on his hand some maha from Lord Nrsimhadev. Then Nrsimhadev. Then he remembered. He said, after so many years of chanting, first half an hour I calling Amma, Amma. I forgot Krishna. Only in hospital, when he saw this, some maha from Nrsimhadev, they said, then only I remember the Lord. Then he said, I have to become serious in my practice in bhakti because I failed the test. So, all of us will be tested. What? You don't believe? All of us, we are going to die. Come on. It's a fact. All of us, we will be in this situation that now, test, 1-to-1. There's no papers to hide behind, there's nobody to whisper in your ear. You have to remember Krishna. Time of death. Do you remember Krishna or not? This is the question now. So, we have to practice. Prabhupada says in Gita, in one purport, he says, we have to mold our life in such a way so that 24 hours we are engaged in devotional service. So this is what we are practicing. We are practicing, we are trying. Now, okay, here. So when young devotees join, this is letter to Yadurani. Prabhupada quotes, some quotes out of the purport to support the point. Yadurani, Mataji was one of the first devotees to join, and she asked Prabhupada when she joined, how many hours a day I shall work? Prabhupada told her to do the painting, so she said, how many hours a day one should work? Means in company you come, so they tell you 9 to 5 or 6 hours or 4 hours, or depends on the nature of the work. So here you go, Prabhupada's letter reply. You have asked me how many hours you should work. Our life is dedicated to Krishna, and you should work for him 24 hours. That was surprise. Didn't expect that one, no? We have different varieties of service. For you, you should work on paintings as long as you think yourself fit. Don't overwork. Okay, now, don't overwork doesn't mean that you stop being engaged in devotional service. You do your paintings, how much body and mind cooperate. Now, when this is done, engage in something else, but remain Krishna conscious, 24 hours a day. Balance time should be spent for chanting and reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So far, remembering me and Krishna, it should be simultaneous, because she asked, shall I remember Krishna or shall I remember Guru? So Prabhupada said, remembering Guru and Krishna should be simultaneous. I'm your spiritual father and Krishna your spiritual husband. A girl can never forget either her father or her husband. In the Shastra it is said the spiritual advance of life is achieved through the combined mercy of the spiritual master and Krishna. Those who are sincere souls, Krishna helps them to have a bona fide spiritual master. And the bona fide spiritual master helps the disciples to approach Krishna. This is the process. No? So this is very important, that we should think of Guru, we should think of devotees, we could think of our Ishtadev, Murtis, we could think of anything related to Krishna conscious. But particularly, we want to really develop love and attachment for the person, for the Guru and Krishna. Okay, there is another letter. Prabhupada explains. Yoga, no, this is from the purport, I think, this is from purport on the Bhagavatam. Yoga means concentration of the mind, detached from all other subject matter. And actually, such concentration is meant for samadhi, or 100% engagement in the service of the Lord. And one who concentrates his attention in that manner, it's called yogi. Such yogi, devotee of the Lord, engages himself 24 hours in the service of the Lord, so that his whole attention is engrossed with the thoughts of the Lord in ninefold devotional service, namely Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, etc. Okay. By such practice of yoga, or linking up in the service of the Lord, one is recognized by the Lord Himself, as it is explained in Bhagavad Gita about the highest perfection stage of samadhi. Such a devotee of rare type is called by Lord as the best among all yogis. Yoginam api sarvesha. Such perfect yogi is enabled by the divine grace of the Lord to concentrate his mind upon the Lord with perfect sense of consciousness, and thus chanting of His holy name before quitting the present body is made easily possible. Now this is the secret. Look, if you pay a little bit attention to this red market. So one devotee who is 24 hours endeavoring to engage in devotional service, such perfect yogi is enabled by the divine grace, by the mercy of God, to concentrate his mind upon the Lord with perfect sense of consciousness, and thus chanting of His holy name before quitting present body is made easily possible. You see, if we are sincerely endeavoring in Krishna consciousness, Guru and Krishna, they bless us so that we can remember God in time of death. This is something special. And if one dedicates his life in devotional service, Srila Prabhupada says in another place, the Lord Chaitanya will come, even if we forget Him in time of death. Lord Chaitanya will come and remind us of Krishna in time of death. And this is amazing experience by Mahavishnu, Swami, Srila Prabhupada's disciple from England. He was preaching, traveling in India many years ago, and there was a heavy car accident. Heavy, direct collision, and he was taken to the hospital in coma and like that. So he said, first thing he remembers in coma is seeing pictures. First he saw Lord Buddha, Buddha's picture. Then he saw Jesus. Then he saw somebody sitting on the Vyasasana. But he couldn't remember. He's looking, so familiar face. He just couldn't remember. And that person, Vyasasana, is sitting and getting a little nervous. And Mahavishnu Swami said, I just on the tip of my tongue, but I can't spell his name, I can't. And then in one moment, that person said, have you forgotten what I taught you? And then he made, Prabhupada, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. He made, so Prabhupada came in there, have you forgotten what I taught you? No? Prabhupada was waiting, come on, you're going to remember or not? Then he reminded, come on, have you forgotten? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Then he woke up in hospital. Oh my goodness. No? Prabhupada came, reminded him on Krishna. So this is amazing. This is very amazing. There are quite few incidents like this we have of devotees leaving the body. They have experienced like this. Another devotee, Prabhupada disciple, who served for many years, and then somehow or other, when Prabhupada left, they also lost a little bit their spirit, and due to management misunderstanding, he also left the movement. He had great respect and love for Prabhupada, but somehow or other he couldn't work with devotees, and he happened to be alone. He married a karmi wife. He found some karmi girl and married her, and lived like that till end of the life. He kept Prabhupada's books there. He has his japamala. He had Prabhupada photo in his room. So he got the cancer and left the body. So after he left the body, his wife came to the temple. She was not devotee, she was not initiated by Prabhupada, but she was wife of a devotee. So she came there and she said that I want to meet Swami Prabhupada. So devotees told her, oh, he left 77. So, oh. So why, how suddenly, who are you and what is this all about? So she told that, look, my husband was devotee of Krishna. She was not really practicing at that time when he was living with me, but he used to tell me about his devotional experiences and service to Prabhupada and like that. So in time of that, he was diagnosed as having cancer. So he was laying on the bed and there was a beautiful photo of Prabhupada Swami just facing him. So she said that I was in the room and he was looking at photo and hardly he could speak, he couldn't move, nothing. He opened eyes, he said, "Oh, Prabhupada, you have come." I left the body. So she said, I want to go to temple and meet who is the Prabhupada, how did he come, what is this mystic who could come? She was completely mind blown with what happened to her husband in time. Prabhupada came, though he was maybe not super sincere in lust or whatever difficulties he had in spiritual life, but Prabhupada came, took him back home, back to Godhead. So many times like this, the experiences. 𝐒𝐞𝐜𝐭𝐚𝐫 Prabhu's wife, I told you, that amazing, I think book is coming, maybe already came out, how she left the body, Prabhupada's disciple. She also got a cancer diagnosis and was too late, and 𝐒𝐞𝐜𝐭𝐚𝐫 Prabhu, Prabhupada's personal servant for many years, he was there with her. So you know, when you get cancer, you have to face it, alright, I'm gonna die. So she stopped this chemotherapy, that, she went on chanting and trying to absorb her mind, but there is a disturbance of the mind when you have such a detrimental disease. But one morning, she just became peaceful. So 𝐒𝐞𝐜𝐭𝐚𝐫 noticed difference in mood. He came to hospital, she was losing her weight rapidly, and he has to lift her leg or to move her anywhere. She couldn't even move at that point of time. But she became peaceful, completely different atmosphere around. 𝐒𝐞𝐜𝐿 Prabhu giving class, he given all the explanation in Vrindavan once. I was having good fortune to be there to hear. And then he said, what happened? You're looking a little peaceful, not to say happy, Yes, Prabhupada came to me and assured me, nothing to worry. You're my daughter, I'll take care, nothing to worry. Then she became peaceful. And the relatives came. That was in 1 month. Her body completely collapsed, and suddenly son and daughter came to see her. So suddenly, if you see somebody cancer affected, they lose so much body. Their really body shrinks in, just eaten up by the cancer, by the disease. So when son and daughter came, they start crying. Oh, mother, oh, they really got emotional, And she said, why are you crying? You think you will not die? I'm crying for you. I'm done with this material world. Prabhupada told me, I'm done. I'm crying for you. You never took it up seriously. You fools, you chant, you surrender, you serve. Don't waste your human form of life. She scolded them like anything. Say, I'm crying for you. You don't cry for me. Why you are crying for body? Body anyway you have to give up, So everybody was, wow, what is it? You see the power of realization. This is yogi. This is devotee. This is amazing how she could get such a power, And later on she told to 𝐒𝐞𝐜𝐿 Prabhu, she seen Gaura-Nitai, she seen Krishna coming like that, It's amazing. And not one, many realizations are there. So by quitting the body, the yogi is at once transferred by the internal energy of the Lord to one of the eternal planets, where there is no question of material life and its concomitant factors. Okay, then Srila Prabhupada continues from mind control and remembering Krishna to time of death to rasana niyoja, training the tongue. The tongue should be trained to speak only of Krishna and to taste only Krishna prasadam. And this is really, we are insisting on that. We are really insisting on this one. That we should talk about Krishna, avoid prajalpa as much as possible, and take only Krishna prasadam. People, some or other, once the congregation preaching developed and devotees were getting initiation, practicing at their home, some or other standards of ISKCON very much degraded. And nowadays it's just accepted that you can eat outside and offer to Krishna, or you can eat in the train, or you can eat in the aeroplane, or you can eat in some vegetarian restaurant or something. I was shocked that some children of some devotees from Indian background but living abroad, they came to visit us here, some 4 or 5 of them. So they were sitting one room in the office, myself and Krishnas, we were in another room in the office. Now we were doing some writing, so we kept silence. I don't think they knew we are there, or they didn't care, or whatever, you know. They were from 15 to 18 years old, 5 of them. They came and they are discussing in their city, wherever they reside outside India, what are the best vegetarian restaurants. Oh, in this restaurant get best idli dosas, and in this restaurant, Karachiwala, you get best sweets, and this restaurant, parota sabji if you want. I was shocked. I said, come on, you are the disciples of the devotees, and you are just discussing, you know, what are the best restaurant. Means they are going regularly. Because it's not that once in emergency, life-saving situation, you know, but they are, you know, discussing, oh, too much crowd, if you come 4 o'clock, this is good, and here you can get this, and you can get this. What are you people doing? So loose. And I think this is all prasadam. How is it prasadam? I do not know. How you will progress? What is the matter? So even one temple president said to one devotee, oh, you are from Bhakti Maharaj disciples, you are fanatics, what's wrong, little bit idlis taking when you are traveling, or some curd rice. But Prabhupada told us not to eat very clearly in the purports, in the books, in the conversation. He said, no restaurants, no hotels eating, no aeroplanes eating. This is so important. Then actually we are not sincere. It seems like we are not sincere. Make some arrangements. Yes, sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it's difficult when you travel. Make some arrangements. Devotees are everywhere. Ask some devotees to cook. Make some teplas. Make some murku, puliodara, something which will last. You know. What about eating one day fruits? We're not going to die. Fruits are available in India. Available. It's not difficult to get some fruits. No? What is the matter? Why so much? So much. That means we didn't do any progress in life. So easily we take this. But why? Why to do that? Prasadam is not nice. Yesterday we just showed the spark of our splendor. The cooking department showed the spark of their splendor. Yeah? Yeah? What is the problem? What is the matter? Why not take it seriously? Biscuits eating. Make biscuit, learn. Oh, good mothers, children want biscuit. Then learn how to make biscuit. Bake your own biscuit. Make other varieties of trees. Hundreds varieties of sweets we have in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said, with milk and grain and sugar, you can make hundreds of varieties of sweets. What is your problem? Children want this. Children. Why children want? Children want because they are not satisfied. If you satisfy them, serve them nicely. Don't be lazy. Why eating outside? It's so bad, it's so much contaminating. So contaminating our consciousness. You may offer it 10 million times and ring your bells of 6 feet big bell you can ring, but actually its consciousness of the cook is present in the food. You're not going to scare Bhagavan by your bell offering, you know. It doesn't work like this. Simply, Bhagavan is purifying agent. Bhagavan, I purchased some food from outside, please, you accept. Why he should accept? No, I'm ringing bell now. Ring, 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 then he has to accept. Like washing machine. Put something dirty, purify. God is purifying agent. We are using God in our service. No? He has to purify it. Where is the love and devotion? Where is the question? Little sacrifice, little sacrifice. Previously, people won't take water outside. I know, I came 94 to India. When we travel in trains, I saw people carrying their brass dabbas for water. They would not buy water outside. They would not drink water outside. They would not drink water from other people unless emergency or something. Water they would not take. Brahmins traveling, he'll go to a relative's house, cook himself. Elder Brahmins, they would cook in their own house themselves. They will not allow wife to cook for them. How careful society was molding one's consciousness. You are looking mystified, as if never heard any of this. But you can inquire. Is it something strange I said? Anybody knows this? Yeah, you know from your, correct? No way, water they would not take outside. Confirmed from the altar itself. Faithless non-believers. Alright, we have some more text to cover. Then, advice is like this. Tishtan Vraja, reside in Braj. One should live in Vrindavan or any part of Rajbhumi. When one makes Vrindavan his residence, he should take shelter of an advanced devotee there. In this way, one should always think of Krishna and his pastime. What is Prabhupada talking about? Anybody can recognize? All students of Nectar of Devotion. Mathuravas, okay. That's there. But what is this? Take shelter of an advanced devotee. Okay, Prabhupada gives shloka. This is further elucidated by Śrīla Rupa Goswāmī in Bhakti-rasa-Amrita-Sindhu 12294. Krishnam smaran janam chasya preshtam nija samihitam tat kata rataschaso kuryat vasam vraje sada. A devotee should always reside in transcendental realm of Raja and always engage in Krishna smaran janma chasya preshtam, the remembrance of Krishna and his beloved associates. By following in the footsteps of such associates and by entering under the eternal guidance, one can acquire an intense desire to serve Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, one more shloka. Seva sadhaka rupena siddha rupena chadrahi tadbhava lipsuna karya raja lokanusarata. In the transcendental realm of Raja, Vrajadam, one should serve the Supreme Lord Krishna with a feeling similar to that of his associates. You heard this? We should serve Krishna when we reside in Vrindavan with a feeling similar to his associates. And one should place himself under the direct guidance of particular associate of Krishna and should follow in his footsteps. These methods are applicable both in the stage of sadhana, spiritual practice executed while in the stage of bondage, and in the stage of sadhya, God realization, when one is Siddha Purusha, spiritual perfected soul. So these shlokas are quoted here in the purport, and they are from Nectar of Devotion under the title Eligibility for Spontaneous Devotional Service. This shloka explains how to perform Raga-nuga sadhana. This is now the advanced stage. Once you get purified in sadhana bhakti, once one has developed the ruchi, then one actually is going to practice spontaneous devotional service, or practicing direct sadhana of Raganuga also possible. That directly you can start practicing Raganuga sadhana. So what is the method? The method is you live in Vrindavan and you follow particular mood or particular devotee of Krishna, whether it's Yashoda Maya or is it Nanda Maharaj or is it any of Krishna's friends like this. And that is given by Guru. Guru guides you how to do that, and he explains you how to follow in that mood of those devotees. So here, I just explain a little more about this. Raga-atmika bhakti mukhya vrajavasijane tara anugata bhaktir raga-nuganam. The original inhabitants of Vrindavan are attached to Krishna spontaneously in devotional service. Raga-atmika bhakti. Nothing can compare to such spontaneous devotional service, which is called Raga-atmika bhakti. So, Raga-atmika, Raga means attachment. Raga-atmika, when soul is attached. When soul is spontaneously attracted to Krishna, this is called Raga-atmika bhakti. And the original inhabitants of Vrindavan, Krishna's eternal associates, they have that type of bhakti. Okay. When a devotee follows in the footsteps of devotee of Vrindavan, his devotional service is called Raga-anuga. Anuga means to follow. Raga-atmika bhakta is, say, Yashoda Maya. Raga-anuga bhakti is somebody who follows mood of Yashoda Maya. I want to cook for Krishna, I want to prepare everything for Krishna, I want to serve Krishna like that. Not that you want to become Mother Yashoda, but you assist Mother Yashoda in Krishna's service. So, this is the practice for Raga-nuga bhakti. Okay, we are not at this level and we don't have to worry. Guru will tell us when is the time to engage in this. Guru will give guidance when is the time to engage in spontaneous devotional service. Sadhana, perform sadhana for Raga-nuga. So Raga-nuga bhakti, that means. So here, Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura explained, Prabhupada continues his purport by quoting Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura. One who has not yet developed interest in Krishna consciousness should give up all material motives and train his mind by following progressive regulatory principles, namely chanting and remembering Krishna in his name, form, qualities, paths, and so forth. So first practice is, you see, this is the summary of the shloka, this is the essence of the shloka. Shloka is summary of all previous shlokas in Upadesa-prakasika. So Bhaktisiddhānta repeats this now, he summarizes it. One who has not yet developed interest in Krishna consciousness means conditioned soul should give up all material motives, train his mind by chanting, remembering Lord and fix himself. In this way, after developing taste for such a things, one should try to live in Vrindavan and pass his time to constantly remembering Krishna's name, fame, pastimes and qualities under the direction and protection of expert devotee. This is the sum and substance of all instruction regarding the cultivation of devotional service. So this is really, this shloka tells us everything, from the conditional state of uncontrolled mind and senses to engage them by chanting and remembering the Lord, to intensify chanting and remembering the Lord under the guidance of Ragatma Bhaktas, of the eternal associates in Vrindavan, and how to practice this sadhana raganuga, which will lead to the perfection of life, developing love of God. So you can see one shloka, what is this Bhakti Yoga all about? You just quote this shloka and everything is explained there. Okay, now here the shloka was quoted Siddha Rupa. I just have a little more explanation that the people don't get confused, because you will see in the purport there are some terms used by Bhaktisiddhānta, Shravana Rasa, Varana Rasa, Smarana Rasa. You've seen the purport, you read, no? So there are some terms that there has to be explained. So here, Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Sarasvatī Ṭhākura explained, by the mercy of spiritual master, the sadhaka gains the ekadasha bhavas and the 5 dashas. He then performs seva in meditation while being internally absorbed in these sentiments. That is to say, he remains absorbed in remembrance of Ashtakaliya Lila. Now, you see, in Gaudiya Vaishnava, we have a Goswāmī of Vrindavan. They explain that Krishna's day is divided in 8 parts, and in each part there is particular pastimes that Krishna performs. So those devotees who are advanced on that level, this is happening level of ruchi. Adau shraddha, tada satsanga, tad bhajana kriya, tadanartha nivritti syat, tata nishta ruchi tata. So now we are bhajana kriya. We are initiated by spiritual master, we are serving. Some of devotees achieve perfection of nishta. They are fixed in their service, they cross the anartha nivritti stage when these material desires are not bothering them. And most of us are at the level Vishnu Acharya Thakur describes in Madhurya Kadambini as a anishta bhajana kriya, unsteady devotional service. One day we are enthusiastic, one day we are not enthusiastic, one day we chant attentively, one day we don't chant attentively, one day we are successful in attempt to control our mind and absorbing Krishna service, one day completely we are on mental platform and thinking, what's this all about? I leave the movement, I go home, I get married, like that. So this is called anishta bhajana kriya. Now we have to come to our platform of nishta bhajana kriya, then after that ruchi. First, symptoms will be taste for service, taste for program, taste for chanting, taste for being with devotees, taste for hearing about Krishna, taste for Bhagavatam, taste for seeing the deities, taste for all devotional activities will be very strong, and that leads us further to the ruchi of the basically chanting and hearing, and that leads us to the ruchi of a taste for Krishna's rupa, guna, lila, like that, and then turns into next level, tata ruchi, asakti, then attachment to actually Krishna's forms, qualities and pastimes comes, and this is already from ruchi, one's swarupa is revealed. So from that end of the ruchi, beginning of asakti. So here, then the Guru will tell ekadasha bhavas, 11 things, and 5 dashas, another 5 things Guru will tell. So here is explained. The ekadasha bhavas are sambandha, relationship. The Guru will tell you, actually your swarupa is your dāsa rasa in Vrindavan. Vayasa, your age is 9 years old. Your name is such and such. Your form is like this looking. You are belonging to this group of devotees. Your dress is like this. Your specific instructions. You are doing this and this service. You are residing here. This is your particular service for Krishna. And this is your mood, your bhav, your divine sentiment. And palyadasi bhava, and your sentiment as a maidservant of the Lord. Here is disclosed. So 11 things Guru tells. And then actually one practices now in his mind serving Krishna according to these information. One does not identify definitely with body at this platform. One is in his spiritual body meditating how he is serving Krishna in this particular rasa. Okay. Now, in striving to attain these 11 items, the aspiring devotee passes through 5 stages. Now, to come to these 11 items, devotee has to do 5 stages. And these are mentioned here in the purport, in this log. The 5 dashas are Shravana dasha. The first stage is stage of hearing. Varana dasha, the stage of acceptance. Smarana dasha, the stage of remembrance. Bhava Panadasha, the stage of spiritual ecstasy, and Prema Sampati Dasha, the stage in which the high success of Prema is achieved. By the mercy of Swarupa Shakti, the sadhaka receives spiritual body appropriate for service to Krishna. This is from Bhajana Rahasya by Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura. Little explanation. Why? Because now this is the purport. If we are back to the Prabhupada's purport, where he quotes actually Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura. The 5 stages of advancement are listed now in our purport. Panchadasha. Shravana dasha, stage of hearing. Varana dasha, stage of acceptance. Smarana dasha, stage of remembering. Bhava dasha, the stage of spiritual ecstasy. And Prema Sampati dasha, the stage in which the high success Prema is achieved. This is how purport goes. Bhaktisiddhānta writes, in the Niyuva stage, one should always engage hearing Krishna Katha. This is called Shravana dasha, the stage of hearing. Now, after hearing, constantly hearing the transcendental holy name of Krishna and hearing of transcendental form, qualities and pastimes, one comes to the stage of acceptance called Varana dasha. When one attains this stage, he becomes attached to the hearing of Krishna Katha. Okay? Now, when one is able to chant in ecstasy, anybody? Atmana manyate jagat. Gokul thinks if he cannot do it, nobody can do it. But not like that. They are devotees who are advanced. When one is able to chant in ecstasy, he attains the stage of smarana avastha, the stage of remembering. Now the stage of remembering is divided into 5 levels also. Recollection, absorption, meditation, constant remembrance, trance are the 5 items of progressive Krishna smarana. This is all in our purport in the book we are reading. So these are in Sanskrit, these 5 levels. Smarana, Vasta, Smarana, Dharana, Dhyana, Anusmriti, Samadhi. And Bhaktisiddhānta explained, at first remembrance of Krishna may be interrupted at intervals. But later, remembrance proceeds uninterrupted. When remembrance is uninterrupted, it becomes concentrated and it's called meditation, dhyana. So first you have smarana, sometimes, then dharana, uninterrupted, then the focused dhyana. When meditation expands, become constant, it's called anusmriti. You have anusmriti here. And then by uninterrupted and unceasing anusmriti, one enters the stage of samadhi or spiritual trance. So these are the 5 levels of smarana avastha. After smarana dasha or samadhi has fully developed, the soul comes to the understanding of his original constitutional position. This is where Swarupa, one Swarupa is actually revealed. We heard it from Guru, we meditated about it, but now actually your spiritual form is awakened and you can use it. Actually then you can start serving Krishna in spiritual form. And this is very amazing. That person is participating in the pastimes. And we hear from the Leelas of our Goswāmis in Vrindavan that they could just shift from the Chaitanya Leela to Krishna Leela. Of course, they are eternal associates in both Leelas, but you can see that example of Goswami sitting on bank of Radhakund and chanting japa. And in their trance, they could see Radha, Krishna and Gopis sprinkling colors on each other. So they were chanting in trance, seeing these beautiful pastimes with spiritual eyes. Correct? But when they came to external consciousness, which external or internal for pure devotees, spiritual, they saw that all their devotees are sprinkled with color. So it shows you that actually this devotees, when he's Krishna conscious, when he's Krishna conscious basically, when he is spiritually awakened, that his spiritual body is experiencing real affairs. They are seeing aprakata lila, which are unmanifested pastimes of the Lord. This is what is explained. At that time, he can perfectly and clearly understand his eternal relation with Krishna. That is called sampati dasha, the perfection of life. So this is explained in our purpose. Rādhā-ramaṇa bhakti, the definition of Vaidhi bhakti first is given. Chaitanya Charitamrita advises that those who are neophytes to give up all kinds of material desires and simply engage in the regulative devotional service of the Lord according to the direction of scriptures. Definition of Vaidhi Bhakti. In this way, a neophyte can gradually develop attachment for Krishna's name, for qualities, and so forth. Then comes definition of Raga Bhakti. When one has developed such an attachment, he can spontaneously serve lotus feet of Krishna even without following the regulative principles. This stage is called Raga Bhakti, or devotional service in spontaneous love. And then comes Raganuga Bhakti definition. At that stage, the devotee can follow in the footsteps of the eternal associate of Krishna in Vrindavan. This is called Raganuga Bhakti. Okay, am I going too fast? Is okay? Clear? Already we discussed this in the Nectar of Devotion. So Raganuga Bhakti, or spontaneous devotional service, can be executed in Shantarasa, when one aspires to be like Krishna's cow, or stick, or flute in the hand of Krishna, or flowers around his neck. These are some examples of Shantarasa. Dāsa Rasa, one follows in footsteps of servants like Chitrak, Patrak, Raktak. In the friendly Sakhya Rasa, one becomes a friend like Baladev, Sridham, Sudama, like that. Vatsalya Rasa, characterized by parental affection, one becomes like Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda. And in Madhurya Rasa, characterized by conjugal love, one can become like Srimati Radharani or her lady friends such as Lalita and her serving maids Manjaris like Rupa and Rati Manjari. This is the essence of all instruction in matter of devotional service. Correct? This is how the purport ends. This is the essence of all instruction in matter of devotional service. And it is. You could see the shloka, you could see Prabhupāda's and Bhaktisiddhānta's explanation. Full process of conditioned soul coming up to the level of prema bhakti through the practice of spontaneous devotion service. From sadhana bhakti, Vaidhi bhakti to the Raganuga bhakti. Everything explained in one shloka, everything is summarized. So this is the essence of all instruction. And now a few more comments here we'll read. Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura in Anuvṛtti writes also, when devotee following path of Vaidhi Bhakti abandons his many varieties of material desires and performs bhajan in accordance with the instruction of Shastra, Sadguru and Vaishnava, ruchi, taste arises in his bhajana. I'll just go slowly with this one, I understand it's very fast. When devotee following path of Vaidhi Bhakti, which are us, abandons his many varieties of material desires. You see, we have to do this. We have to give up material desires. We can't go on saying it's okay. We cannot go on saying it's okay, material life is okay, material enjoyment is okay, a little bit is okay. We cannot go on saying this to us. We are going to prolong our process of realizing God. This is the result. This is what will happen. We are prolonging our own suffering. We are prolonging our conditioned life. We can't all the time compromise. A little bit is okay. Don't be fanatic. A little bit is okay. A little bit going cinema, a little bit enjoying the senses, a little bit eating outside, a little bit go traveling, a little bit going to Singapore, and then we go to Australia, and we see in the world a little bit, and we are okay, we are good also. Sometimes we wear jeans, and sometimes we wear nice clothing, and sometimes we go for this function and that function, and a little bit is okay. But it's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. We have to give it up. And it's for our good. You won't see Radha Krishna Leelas, you're not going to see this Maya Leelas. It's just as black and white, day and the night, like that. So here, we have to abandon varieties of material desires and perform bhajanas in accordance with the instruction of Shastra, Guru and Vaishnavas. No? So some people think, I'll go to Vrindavan and I'll get mercy of Radharani and I don't have to surrender. Shortcut. But there is no shortcut. Nice if you go to Vrindavan. But in Vrindavan, if you cultivate material desires or engage in sinful activities, it's offense. It's not a good place if heart is not pure. Guru Maharaj said, Vrindavan. Maharaj, we are going to Vrindavan. Oh, how long you will stay? Well, Maharaj, we are going to stay 3 days. Dear Gokul, get out of Vrindavan. He understood. This is, our mind is not in Vrindavan. No? So it's not external Vrindavan, it's really absorption in Krishna's service. Okay. Upon the appearance of this ruchi, he abandons the path of Vaidhi Bhakti and enters path of Raganuga Bhakti. And then Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta quotes, dāsa sakha pitrādi prayasīra gana rāgamarke nija nija bhāve rāganana. Now this is very important for Gaudiya Vaishnava to understand. Technically there are 5 rasas. What are the 5 rasas? Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya rasa. But look at the Chaitanya Charitamrita definition. There are 4 rasas. There are 4 modes of service included in part of spontaneous devotion. Those of servants, friends, parents and conjugal lovers. Actually in Raga-nuga Bhakti we are not really practicing Shanta rasa. So here, just for our information, when we really speak of service, we are speaking from Dasya rasa. There is no greater place than Raja Mandal to perform bhajan of Sri Radha Krishna. Therefore, even such exalted devotees as Brahma and Uddhava pray to take birth there as a blade of grass or shrub. No? So we know the shlokas that even Brahma and Uddhava pray that let me become even some grass, some creeper, something in Vrindavan, so that the dust from lotus feet of gopis, when they go around playing with Krishna, then they may come upon our head, so we achieve perfection. So even Uddhava was the greatest devotee known in Dwarka. Krishna sent him to Vrindavan to deliver a message to the gopis who were suffering in separation. So, then, when Uddhava came back, he said to Krishna, now I know why you sent me in Vrindavan. I thought I'm a very great devotee, but you sent me that I can learn what is pure bhakti. Uddhava is speaking. Then you know what is the bhakti of the gopis. And this is our topic. It's not that we are now discussing some confidential pastime, but we are trying to understand. We don't ban Radha Krishna discussion in ISKCON. But we don't discuss all these intimate pastimes which are meant for Raga-nuga bhaktas. When somebody is on that platform that he can control mind and senses, when he hears pastimes of Radha Krishna, his spiritual emotions are invoked. When somebody is affected with material lust, his material emotions will be evoked. And then it will be offense to take Radha Krishna's pastime as a sense gratification. It's very offensive. So this is something not to be imitated, but we should be aware. We should know what is our philosophy. That stage is there, it will come naturally. We don't have to worry. Guru is there. But my Guru left body. One devotee asked, my Guru left body, so who will now tell me this 11 points and 5 points, and who will tell me what is my Swarupa? But Guru is eternal, he has spiritual form. It's not that he left body and now he cannot reach you. There's wireless connection available from the spiritual world. Goloka connection is there. Guru can appear in dream, he can show you, he can guide you, he can say Shiksha Guru. Millions of ways Guru will guide. No? So nothing to worry. Everything will be revealed. Prakashante Mahatmanaha. No? So we don't have to bother. Okay, Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura says like this in Pīyūṣa-varṣiṇī-vṛtti. This verse describes the method of bhajana as well as the topmost place for performing bhajana. With the intention of incessantly executing the gradual process of sadhana, one should utilize every moment of his life by engaging the tongue in nicely performing kirtan of Krishna's name, form, qualities and pastimes, and then the mind in smarana or remembrance upon them. This process should be executed while reciting Raja, under the guidance of the devotee who is immersed in Raja Rasa. You see, all acharyas are talking same thing, consistently, same information, no contradiction, everybody is speaking same. The performance of this manasa seva, service rendered within the mind, is dependent solely upon residing mentally in Raja. Now you see this is very important. Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura says that, so why don't we all shift to Vrindavan? We don't have to. This solely upon residing mentally in Raja. If one is mentally residing in Raja, means our mind should be absorbed in Krishna's pastimes, wherever we are in the world. And you will see later on some Prabhupada's quotes are there, residing that. So it's not physically. Some devotees go by physically. Of course, it's nice to live in Vrindavan, everything reminds you of Krishna in Vrindavan. But basically we have to do preaching also. We have to help other conditioned souls to come back home, back to God. So the point is residing mentally in Raja, really that mind is absorbed in Krishna. Sri Rādhā-ramaṇa Goswāmī says, at this point, these questions may arise in the mind of a new sadhaka. Where should one reside to cultivate devotional activities headed by chanting Krishna's name, and how should one go about it? This verse, which constitutes the essence of all instruction, has been composed to answer these questions. All the devotees should utilize entirely of their time in engaging their tongues in performing kirtan of Krishna's name, forms, qualities and pastimes, and their minds in remembrance of him. They should reside only in Sri Vrajamandala and follow elevated devotees. How should one follow devotees? Two types of devotion: Vaidhi, devotion performed in conjunction with rules, regulation, and Raganuga, spontaneous devotion. Among these two, it is especially desirable to follow Raganuga Bhakta. The meaning of that Anuragi, Jnana-anugami, is to follow the intimate, eternal devotee of Krishna's Raja Leela. One should cultivate Krishna Bhakti under the guidance of those Rasika Gurus who are themselves followers of the intimate, eternal devotee of Rajendra Nandan, the nectar of human-like pastimes. So here you can see this is all acharyas very consistently, very clearly speak about it. So this is our philosophy, this is our understanding, that now we are at the level of sadhana bhakti, Vaidhi bhakti we are following regulatory principles of bhakti, and trying to absorb our mind in chanting, hearing pastimes and serving the Lord with our senses and the mind. And then that will lead us to the platform of spontaneous attraction. At that moment, Guru will reveal how we should engage in spontaneous attraction. So one should be a little conscious and aware. People think, okay, I took Diksha, I'm going home back to Godhead, I'm devotee. I'm devotee means I'm devoted. Am I devotee? How do I know am I progressing? Am I devoted? Devotee and devoted. Devotee means one who is devoted. Whether we are devoted to Krishna. It is not just lip service. One mind, body, activity, senses, time, everything should be absorbed in Krishna service. So this is the understanding. So this is our philosophy. Now we are practicing sadhana bhakti in the expectation that one day will develop desire and develop attachment of spontaneous devotional service. And then Guru will guide us how to fully engage in that service to Krishna eternal in our spiritual body. And then, whether we are in material world or we are in spiritual world, we are in spiritual body eternally serving Krishna according to the guidance of Acharyas. So this is our philosophy, this is Gaudiya Vaishnavism. This is the beauty of this process of chanting Hare Krishna. Enable us to develop love for God, our own spiritual form, and personal service to Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. This is most amazing. This is extraordinary. And now all this discussion comes that everybody has his Swarupa, so how one will feel attracted. This is not to imitate. It is not now I open Krishna book, you say, oh, I like Mother Yashoda, oh, I like this gopis, I'll be gopi, I'll be gopa. It's not exactly like that. That comes spontaneously. That natural feeling of the soul will be attracted. We don't have to bother. Remember that Lila when the early days, devotees were discussing, oh, what is your Swarupa, what is your Swarupa? So one Mataji said, oh, I like to be cow. The cows are so nice, they just give so much pleasure to Krishna. Krishna spends time with cows. Gopis, he lives in the morning and sees them evening, but all day he's with cows. I'll be cow. So the few Matajis were excited about this idea. Yes, we should be cows. So the small bells they purchased, they attach to their hair and, so very interesting. She came for Diksha and Prabhupada is looking and said, your name, Surabhi Devi Dasi. So Prabhupada knew their mind, encouraged them a little bit. It's okay. We don't have to speculate now and think, what would you like to be, what would I not like to be. These spiritual sentiments will come naturally. Second thing is that we know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought a special gift, and that is he revealed that knowledge. He revealed the truth of services in Madhurya Rasa, which are very dear to Krishna. So by understanding, by being follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, actually you can get the blessing of the Lord Chaitanya, that one can actually invoke love of God in that service of Madhurya Rasa. So that is also explained, special blessing of Lord Chaitanya. Okay, I'll stop here. Any questions? Thank you very much. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai.